Hello and welcome to the Machinists News Network. I'm Deirdre Kanievsky. Is trade important to you? It should be. In the past, bad trade policies hurt only blue-collar workers by sending jobs overseas. But that's changing, and now even white-collar jobs are in trouble. In fact, because of something called Fast Track, no one is safe anymore. On February 28, 2005, the Maytag factory in Galesburg, Illinois, closed its doors forever. With empty buildings standing as a reminder of a once prosperous town, for sale signs marked most lawns. The reason? The company decided to take these jobs to Mexico. The workers and their families suffered. The town itself experienced a great loss.
Workers lose their jobs, they move out of the community, they sell their homes, there's no income coming in. So the school district takes a hit. The small businesses, as I said, that feed in from maybe Monmouth or Watauga or areas around Galesburg itself that feed in, they take a tremendous hit because that was their main source of selling what they sold.
According to Congressman Hare, Maytag was given about $20 million in tax breaks to operate in Galesburg. The majority of that money left with the company for Mexico.
They leave the area and head to Sonora, Mexico, which is like robbing the state of $24 million, robbing 1,600 people of their jobs, no place to go.
Many ask, how did this happen? Why did a profitable company making a solid American product leave the U.S.? Many blame it on a little-known tool used by the White House that's causing a lot of problems for Americans. It's called Fast Track.
In 1974, you had 8-track tapes and Fast Track. Both things go into the Museum of Antiquated and Outdated Technology.
It's a way to quickly, very fast, move a piece of legislation through the Congress without the normal procedures. You don't write the bill. Congress doesn't write the bill. They don't go through a normal committee process. They don't amend the bill. They can't amend the bill.
The only thing Congress gets is a 90-day notice that the White House intends to start negotiations. And then the White House picks a country, sets the contents. Congress sets objectives, but they're ignored because the objectives have included labor rights for years, and that's never been the agreements. The president signs the agreement and enters into it in international law before Congress votes.
Probably some of the most recognizable fast-track agreements are NAFTA and the World Trade Organization. Workers were promised it all, better wages and more opportunities, but the numbers don't lie. Since NAFTA, already 3 million manufacturing jobs have left American soil, and workers are making less money, not more.
If a person who makes $25,000 now had not been exposed to the NAFTA and WTO downward pressure on all workers' wages, this is not just the people who lose a job, they would be making $28,000 a year. That's the U.S. economic statistics from the federal government.
The loudest argument for the current trade system is that it keeps prices down. But according to Wallach, that hasn't happened.
The thing I always think about is, who's ever seen the Nike sneakers go down to $30? Don't know about you, but I'm still seeing they're $100 plus. But all those jobs moved from Oregon and Washington State to Vietnam to China. So people are literally making $1 a day to make those sneakers, where people were doing union jobs with benefits in the Pacific Northwest making those sneakers. You seen the prices go down? No, they haven't gone down at all.
Another argument by proponents of Fast Track is that it speeds up the process of making international trade deals. But opponents of this idea see it another way. They say Congress has given away its ability to regulate trade.
It is unusual for anybody in politics to voluntarily give up power. And this is what Congress has done. Congress is voluntarily, when they vote for Fast Track, voluntarily giving up their power to do their constitutional duty of regulating commerce.
What happens is that other groups, like multinational companies, step in and help decide what's right for the American public.
Working people, family farmers, small business owners, environmentalists, consumer activists, we are all in the boat together. And the only people who are enjoying this model are basically a couple of really fat sharks circling.
It takes the representatives of the American people out of the process, but puts the representatives of transnational business into the process.
Not one time are working people ever brought in at the forefront of the trade agreement. It's like, here's your trade agreement, take it or leave it.
Part of the problem has been that there's been an effort, a successful effort, in fact, on the part of some who have a great interest in keeping things going in the direction it's been going because it benefits them.
Many say NAFTA is a perfect example of a trade policy created for the benefit of a few.
Under NAFTA, there are these crazy investor rules that have nothing to do with trade that basically give tax benefits to a U.S. company, even if they went to Canada, where the wages were higher. It was a better deal under NAFTA than if they stayed put.
But you don't have to go to Galesburg to see the results. Most American cities and industries have been touched by bad trade deals.
It's clearly led to a lot of lost jobs in my state of Ohio. 200,000 jobs have been lost since NAFTA, frankly. So all of the trade policies that we're engaging in recent years have had a devastating effect, and we should stop entering into those kinds of trade policies.
Congresswoman Betty Sutton says more Americans are aware of this issue. That's good and bad news because it means the problem is growing. It's not a hypothetical anymore.
Every day, you see the effects. You see the faces of the people who want to work, who had jobs, who maybe now have 2 or 3 jobs, but they're just not good jobs. So they're working a lot harder, but they're just not making enough to even get by. So Fast Track has had a devastating impact on where I come from.
And it's not just about having products stamped with Made in the USA.
I came out of the clothing industry, and I have to tell you, we manufactured men's suits. We took a thorough beating on trade. It's one of the reasons why I even got involved in politics. I don't need them telling me that suit coming over here from Taiwan is a better product than what we manufacture in Chicago or Philadelphia or New York. Just isn't the case.
It's about our quality of life.
Now you've got these trade agreements that are about everything Congress does, things that affect our daily lives. Not only our jobs and our wages, which it does, but the safety of the food we eat, whether Granny can afford her medicines, whether we have safe drinking water, a good health care system.
So what can be done? Many say the U.S. needs to hit the brakes on trade until a new plan is created.
We know we're going down the wrong path at the moment. So we've got to stop, get out the map, figure out where we want to go, change course. And while we're doing that, it doesn't make sense to have to make more agreements or pass agreements under the old failed system.
We need a new trade model. We need a trade model that will work for American businesses and American workers. We need a trade model that deals with workers' standards and environmental standards. And that's what we need to put our minds to doing.
One that addresses our future needs.
We need a system that when we're in a trade agreement and we start to have a trade deficit, automatically the tariffs, the taxes adjust to put the balance back. Or that if a country manipulates its currency to try and basically make their stuff cheaper and cheats in an agreement, the agreement automatically adjusts.
Maybe even use our standing as a world leader to cause change. There are some countries whose economic future depends on the U.S.
The only upside to being a country that has a trade deficit that's almost $800 billion is that we have enormous leverage. So the answer is yes. The whole world wants to sell to us. And that gives us a special ability to set the terms of how you get into our market.
Looking to other countries who seem to be winning the game of international trade is another idea.
When they import and export, they are very cognizant of their workers. They're very cognizant of the fact that, that they have a certain price you're going to pay if you want to bring your stuff in.
Above all, every trade deal must have a floor of decency to make sure basic human rights aren't trampled.
But if we had rules that said, we ain't accepting into this market any item made by child labor, made by sweatshop labor, if the food is not grown under the same safety and pesticide standards that we have in our country or processed that way, we're not taking it. We would totally turn the whole system on its ear. It's a question of the rules. Whoever writes the rules, rules.
According to a report by one Washington, D.C. think tank, Americans will lose close to 2.4 million jobs between 2004 and 2015 if we stay on the same path. Make sure your Capitol Hill representatives know where you stand on Fast Track. For more Machinist news, you can log on to goiam.org. See you next time.